everybody. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to start in just a minute. Good to see some people here. Hey, everybody. It is Sean, and this is the Daily Bern. So come in. Come on in. We are live. We are up. This is the war room of the political revolution. What this is a daily motivational show for all of us who are devoted to this revolution and realize that this is our fight and that it depends on our commitment and determination to succeed, and we know that it must succeed. So, if you're committed to this fight and want real change to become possible, for justice and compassion to be brought into the lives of the people, for change to be a reality, for greed and endless wars to be brought to an end, to stop the socialism for the rich and help the people instead, come on in because you found your show. We are believers in here, and we know that this is our fight, and it is us who must make this happen. So please like and share, even if you're here after the live. Still take part in the show. Comment. I want to hear from you, so check in while you're here, even if it's later on, because you cannot be late to a Daily Bern. Anytime you're here, you are right on time. But let's see, we got some people here in both places. Looks like everything's up and going good. Hello to YouTube and Facebook. Hey, Jack, Carol, Heath. Good to see people here. Steve. Good to see you. Hey, Nissa. I want to start the burn today with a quote by Vince Lombardi. He said, "I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious." Now, what we are in is a fight. This isn't an election. This is a war, and we understand that. And it will succeed because of our hard work and determination, because we understand that it is us who must make this change happen. Now, most people want it to be someone else's job to fix things. They want someone else to look to and someone else to blame if it goes wrong. They don't want the responsibility, basically. But an awakening is happening, and people are uniting and rising up together to make a stand against the greedy, evil, and heartless system that lords over us all. And it's working. Because people are owning this fight by the millions and devoting themselves to it. More and more each day, we are breaking down this system, and that is why it's dying, because we own it. So thank you to all of you that do all that you can out there each day. I love all you guys. You inspire me. And being in this fight beside you has been an honor. And we will win. And have already won in many ways. The establishment is fighting as hard as they can, but it won't be enough. This is going to be remembered historically as the moment that we changed America forever. Now things are getting bad, and probably will get much worse, and it will be our job to keep people believing that this change is possible during what is to come. Everything happening right now shows the need for the change that we are fighting for, and people want these things. Bernie's entire platform is far from radical and actually overwhelmingly supported by most. A lot of the people that are against these things are against them because they've been lied to and misled on a massive scale. And we're trying to change everything about how this predatory society works. What we're doing here is massive. And you don't make big changes like this without big effort. And this is not the time to lay back. It is the time to double our efforts, to push even harder. Now, Bernie is doing a fantastic job, and he has just went ahead and became president. He is leading America through this crisis and doing a great job of showing exactly what kind of leader he truly is. Bernie is doing his job quite well, I think. I'm very happy with Bernie and all that he's done and built for us. But we just need to stay focused on our role in this. We are the media. We are the voice of this revolution. And in this crisis especially, it is very important that we keep trying to make as many people as we can aware that change is needed, and more importantly, that it is possible. That's the big one, is making them believe. Like I said, they want this stuff, but a lot of energy and effort has been put into convincing them that they can't have it and should appreciate the scraps that they're given. The media and these paid trolls online. There has been millions invested in social media by the DNC and their many interests and allies. Many of these blue no matter who maniacs that have leaped to prominence in your social media feeds, I'm sure they have in yours because they have in mine. These people are taking money to mislead people. They're paid trolls. Well, luckily, we will work for free, and they aren't very clever to begin with, so we just must overwhelm them. But we don't do that by engaging with them. Ignore them. Once you've decided that's what you're dealing with, just move on, because just ask Donald Trump. Even negative attention is good, and comments and interaction help these trolls no matter what you're saying or how good of points you're making. They're not even listening to you. They just want you to keep talking. So do not feed the trolls. But make sure you stay out there informing people that are actually listening and not just regurgitating nonsense and gaslighting you endlessly and obviously not open to anything. We don't need everybody, but spread the truth as much as you can. Because I really believe that is how we win. We inform people, and through our faith inspire them to believe that real, meaningful change is possible, and show them how it can and is happening and how they can be a part of it. Don't stop fighting or lay back now. Push harder, because we are winning. And it's going to get nasty, but we will win because of our belief that it is possible and our hard work and determination in the face of all this adversity and these unknown variables in our way. That takes bravery and great courage to hold on to that faith through all of this, but stay focused and determined that this can, must, and will happen no matter what happens moving forward. This corrupt, rigged system is going to be taken down, and justice is going to be brought to the people, by the people. So have the courage to believe that we will make this happen. Not Bernie, us, because we must. And that was already obvious to us all, but now it is going to become crystal clear to everyone. This already was the fight of our lives. These greedy bastards that have taken everything from us do not care about us and will never stop. They must be stopped. And we know that it is us who must stop them. So I don't know what's coming. But I do know that what we're fighting for must happen, and that it is our job to see that it does, no matter what. So no matter what happens, no matter what gets in our way or what we have to overcome, this keeps moving forward. This keeps happening. Like Carol says, any blue won't do. Blue, no matter who, is literally insanity to begin with. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. These people don't have our best interest at heart, never have. They actively work against us. So to vote for someone just because there's a D next to their name is idiocy. And this is not the time for that. This isn't even an election. This is a revolution. This is a fight. This is class warfare. And this society, this system, rather, needs to be taken down, needs to be undone. And the phone is obviously in the bedroom. I apologize for that. Kathy says, I block Blue no matter who out of hand anymore. And I'm saying do that. A lot of them are paid trolls, a great deal of them. There was a lot of money put into social media by Bloomberg, the DNC, and all of their allies. Every one of them, they're trying to lead and mislead the agenda. Kathy says, go Sean. Hey Kathy, you're here on 2 platforms. She is here on YouTube and Facebook. Susan says, I convinced 3 people to reconsider Bernie yesterday. Bideners. Good job, Susan. Jack says, I got another Trumpster to join his ship and I pulled them aboard. There are a lot of Trump supporters that aren't that far from being Bernie supporters. I reach out to Trump supporters more than I do Blue no matter who's or Biden supporters even. A lot of Trump supporters are just misled. Now there are the far right, then there's no getting to them, but there are a lot of Trump supporters that actually would vote for Bernie Sanders if he was the nominee and there was another option. Republicans are fiercely loyal, but there are a lot of Trump supporters that would like another option. Kathy says, I've been canvassing my neighborhood with the Nextdoor app, encouraging everyone to start thinking about not going back to work. A general strike? Did you see Britney Spears calling for basically a general strike? It's going to be time for direct action. There is much more to our fight than just voting booths and primaries and caucuses. This is ongoing and huge, what we're doing, and unprecedented. This is historic, what's going on. Joan says, when people see the medical bills they will get from this situation, maybe their eyes will open to Medicare for all. Everyone's eyes are going to be opened to the need for just about everything that we're fighting for and everything that we're pushing towards making happen here. This all needs to happen. And unfortunately, the flaws in our healthcare system are going to be exposed in a big way. And I'm worried about how awful it is going to be. But all of what is coming, the financial crisis and this health crisis with this pandemic, all of what is happening is highlighting the need for the change that we're fighting for and showing that we're right and we must reform this system in a massive way. This has to happen. But look, I'm glad to see that people are making it through out there and getting this agenda forward. And there is a mass awakening happening. No matter what the media is portraying, the media is nothing but lies. Their job is to deceive people, to get them to vote outside their best interest, and to push the interests of the establishment and those that lord over us. They're liars, and they're our enemy. So the revolution not being televised, that's not just a clever slogan to put on t-shirts. It's truth. They won't point the cameras at us. I was trying to look, I try to look at news before the Daily Bern just to see like what's going on or anything big that I might have missed during the day and that I would need to know for the live feed. I go to mainstream media, 2 big sources. The ones I always hit are CNN and Fox. I want to see both polar opposites of the propaganda, the heaviest propaganda sites. Nothing on Bernie Sanders. Nowhere on either side. The man is online every day, is leading the country through this crisis, and no attention paid to him. No focus on any platform, negative or positive. Total media blackout. So it's our responsibility to be the media. You know, we have to be the ones that own that. And like Kathy says, we are the media. We shall prevail because we must. We must. And we are the media. The media in this country is weaponized propaganda. That's a fact. And most of us are aware of that. But the average person, they believe that what's coming out of their TV is true. We have to show them that it is a weapon being used against them to mislead them. Kathy says it's easier now to talk to Trump fans because they're already planning on cashing those socialism checks. Yeah, people are realizing that there needs to be reform in the economy. I got a Trump supporter to agree the other night on a live stream to a living wage and see the point of it. The belt's getting tight for people. Hey, Dion. Jack says I got some good news today that they're going to give me 3 months to get caught up on my mortgage. All right, that's really good news. There are a lot of people afraid of what's coming tomorrow. April 1st, bills are coming due. Everyone's landlord has probably been good enough to let them know that they care deeply about you and are very concerned for you during this crisis. But rent will be due April 1st. And going back to the general strike idea, I think it's a good time for this. You know, we're already in quarantine. We're already being shut down as a society. When is there a better opportunity to go ahead and just have a general strike? There needs to be relief. And what's been offered with this stimulus package is not relief. You know, a lot of people aren't even going to get anything from this stimulus. People are in a lot of trouble. We need massive reform, not a stimulus package. We need Medicare for all. We need massive reform to our healthcare system, massive reform to our election system, massive reform to our economy and the way it's set up. Everything we're fighting for needs to happen and is crucial moving forward. And it will happen. But these trolls, though, like I said earlier, don't feed the trolls. Because when you get engaged in with these blue no matter who's that are obviously gaslighting and obviously trolls, once you've realized that's what they are, cut them out. Because any exposure is good. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So if you're interacting with their posts, you're helping them. He says the stimulus package is crying shame and it's disgraceful as best. Susan says the relief package is chump change. $1,200 in May is nothing. When you figure by then, a lot of people are going to be a good 2 months behind. It does nothing to cushion the blow that is coming from most Americans. People are in for a shock. I know things are already getting very hard for me personally, so I consider myself pretty average as far as people go in the average American. I think I relate pretty closely with the average American, so I'm sure everyone's feeling what I'm feeling. I live paycheck to paycheck. Most people do. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for a shutdown of society. I don't have savings built up to pay my rent and utilities during a crisis like this. I wasn't prepared for any of this, and most people aren't and can't be. You know, the average person couldn't survive a $500 emergency. It would cripple them. A $500 car expense and throw a huge wrench into their entire existence. I'm one of those people. And like I said, I consider myself to be pretty average. You know, things need to change. Things must change. And we are making it happen right now. So just do all you can. Keep fighting, no matter what happens. Everything's changed now. The entire game, because of this crisis, because of this pandemic. There's no rallies. Biden's refusing to debate. Can you believe that? He's refusing to debate. Because he can't. He can't even get through a live stream from his house where he could read off of a teleprompter. He could have it all written out for him. He can't handle that. He doesn't want to debate because he's afraid. He came out very poorly in the last one. Even though they had him energized somehow and he made it through without falling asleep, he came off incredibly poor. And any effort to fact check anything he said shows him to be a liar. And like Bernie said, go to the YouTube. You can find all kinds of evidence of Joe Biden fighting against the American people. But that stuff is getting taken down. So the establishment, which YouTube and Google and all that are part of, are doing all they can to stop us, to shut us down and shut us up. It's not going to be enough, no matter what they do, because we have too much momentum at this point. I honestly believe that. I'm not coming from a place of optimism. I'm not an optimist. I'm a realist. I believe in this because this is the way change takes place. This is the way change happens. Always has been, always will be. The only way to fix this society is for millions of people to take ownership of it. I deeply believe that that is why it's going to work, why it is working. Because we're not just voting and clocking out. We've become aware. We're watchdogs. We're vigilant. We're very active. We're putting in the work. That's what's making it happen. The people being active and involved. That's what's making this a reality and what's driving it home and why it will succeed. And that's what I believe in. I love Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders is a great man, has a history of integrity and for consistently fighting for what's right. Not when it's popular, but consistently, all throughout his life. I'm a big fan of Bernie, but I understand, and millions of us understand, that Bernie cannot do this on his own. And Bernie never claimed to be able to do this on his own. This is our fight and our job and our responsibility. And millions of people owning that fact is why this is going to happen and why it is happening. Edward, hey, Bernie, Bernie, Bernie. I love Bernie, but it is us. We're the ones making this happen. We're the reason why it will. Our belief and determination and will is what's going to make this happen. He says, can Bernie use Joe's lack of willingness to debate as a weapon against Joe Biden? If I was Bernie, I would hold the debate against an empty podium like I'm Clint Eastwood talking to an empty chair. I wouldn't care. And I can't see Biden be able to get away with basically taking a knee and trying to run out the clock, doing the political equivalent of that, hiding from this debate. Susan says Biden came off as arrogant and pompous, holier than thou SOB with that laughing and smirking. He needed to be slapped. He came off awful in the debate. And Bernie gave him every opportunity to tell the truth. And like I said before, when they asked Bernie what he was going to do if Joe became the nominee, I think Bernie was lying. I don't think he is abandoning us in this fight. I don't think he can in good faith. Integrity be damned. There's no way for him to endorse Joe Biden, for him to push the establishment plan forward. It doesn't make any sense in any way. He can't. It never could have but especially not now with these rape allegations against Joe Biden, which we cannot let go away. The media is doing the best they can to ignore the fact that Joe Biden has credible rape allegation against him right now, among other allegations, but a rape allegation. The man is disqualified. Not only is he mentally unfit and a fundamentally flawed candidate, he cannot continue forward. And if he cared about America at all, he would step down, but he doesn't. He won't do the right thing. So we have to expose him. Because, Steve, I believe Tara too. I listened to her story, and I encourage you to do the same before they succeed in taking it down and suppressing it and keeping people from seeing it. Look up Tara Reade's story. Listen to it for yourself. Come to your own conclusion. And then tell me if you don't believe that Joe Biden did this. And I never could have voted for Joe Biden. But at this point, there's no way in hell I would actively vote against him and campaign and work against him. Carol says Wisconsin is still going with the primary voting on April 7th. How do you guys like that? What? That is voter suppression. That is exactly what that is. Just like Tom Perez fighting so hard to hold the primary events that they just held. That was massive voter suppression. People are afraid to come out. They love low voter turnout. Low voter turnout always works out in their favor. High voter turnout is when active and involved people are out being active and involved, and it never works out well for them. So they love to suppress the vote, and that's what they're trying to do. So I think that's awful. I don't like that at all. And Kathy says, I vote empty chair. Hell yeah. I would debate an empty podium. And I would talk about every once in a while why that damn podium is empty. That the person that should be standing at that podium doesn't feel like he needs to make a case to you why you should vote for him. I would say it over and over again. I would definitely still hold the debate. He says Biden tried to say Bernie had 9 super PACs in the last debate. Yeah. And Bernie did the best thing he could have done in that situation and immediately called his bluff. Because Joe's like, you want me to list them off? He's like, please do. Please do. I would love to hear the names of these super PACs. There's no lie Biden won't tell. He is a liar. He's a Republican. He's a rapist. And very pervy and creepy. Clearly doesn't understand the limitations and respect human space. Kathy says he'll endorse our candidate himself. Biden is toast with no chip beef. He can't win. Biden would lose. Even if there wasn't all the other problems, which we know there is. So for those reasons, Bernie couldn't do it. But even if there wasn't those problems, Joe would get shredded by Donald Trump. There's no way. And there's no way Bernie could help him. There's nothing could be done to help Joe Biden make it through Donald Trump. He would lose. Joan says, I really wish that had come out sooner. Well, but isn't it interesting how the media is silencing this woman? You know, the same journalist and the same sources broke this story and the woman that testified against Judge Kavanaugh. I just went completely blank on her name. But she was instantly pushed to the front, publicity everywhere on every channel, highly focused on story. No one's covering Tara Reade. And Biden wasn't even asked about it when he was on TV the other day. Joan says Bernie gets my vote no matter what happens. Bernie is going to be president. You know, I don't like to talk about Plan B because it gets in the way of Plan A. We're going to succeed. But this is Bernie or Vest. There is no other way here. And we tear the DNC down. It must be gutted and rebuilt anyway. So Jack says, I don't believe Joe's going to make it to July. I don't either, Jack. I really don't. Catherine says, Christine. I wanted to say Christine. Christine Blasey. Am I right about the Blasey part? But they put her all over the place. Gave her all kinds of media attention. But Tara Reid, completely ignoring that story. The press is not talking about it at all. So again, we're the media, and it is our job to get that story out and to expose and highlight what's being hidden. That Carol says, asked me if I saw the link today about Missouri primary and Bernie's count. No, I didn't. I'll have to check that out. Was it exit polling? Was it information about discrepancies in exit polling? Because there has been double-digit discrepancies in exit polling, as high as 26%, always in Joe Biden's favor throughout any time they've used electronic voting machines in this primary. They are rigging this primary. Kathy says Bernie is already the de facto president. He is. And I agree with Jack. I don't think Biden's going to make it to July. I really don't. You know, they're already flirting with replacing him in some way. I keep hearing him talk about Cuomo. Isn't that crazy? They're just going to draw names out of a hat now? Are we having an election? Or are they just going to outright admit to everyone that this is just pageantry? Because that's what it is. But we're going to overwhelm it. We're going to tear it down. This wasn't going to be won in the voting booths only, ever. It was never going to happen that way. We have to tear this system down. We're going to have to take this. We overwhelm them. They're going to make it look like it can't happen all the way up until it does. Susan says, I like Cuomo, but come on, man. I hesitate to even bring this up, but it's funny, so I'm going to. Have you seen the pictures where it's clear that he has those barbell nipple rings? That is not a good look, man. He should... Not for a politician. I don't want that in my leader. It gives me weird imagery. Steve says, without paper ballots counted in public, democracy will not exist here. Democracy doesn't exist. It's pageantry. It's a show. Both sides work for the same team. And when people say left and right are both wings on the same bird, they're telling the truth. They're not lying. This system is rigged. And it's not broken. It was built this way. It's functioning exactly the way it was intended to function. It is rigged up against the people. But it can be overwhelmed. It can be taken down. And it can be rebuilt into something that works for the people. Something with justice and compassion. And what we're doing is how that happens. Carol says it needs to be brought out. It needs to be exposed. The fraud is over the top. They don't care. We have to expose it. We have to highlight this. We have to show people. We have to get people to care. Everyone. Not just people on the left. This is an election being rigged in this country. It needs to matter to everybody. This is our democracy. If our vote doesn't matter, then nothing does. And it's all just an illusion, which is what it is. But if we take it over and we reform it and we change it and we rebuild it, into something that works for us, then real progress is possible. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we must do. And Jack says we need to show up in mass droves to the DNC office. We need to overwhelm them in every way. Make ourselves impossible to ignore. A lot of us have a lot of free time on our hands right now, so capitalize on that. You know, with this quarantine and the shutdown of our economy, we're finding ourselves with a lot of extra time. So do all you can to inform people. I really think that's the most important thing that we can do, is to inform people. Because the media is not. The media never will. They're an enemy of progress. Joan says that I don't think this virus is going to be the only scary thing that will be happening. I think after there's going to be a lot of violent political uprising if nothing changes now. You're right, because you can only push people so far, and you can only back people into a corner so much until they fight back. If peaceful revolution is made impossible, violent revolution will become inevitable. That's a John F. Kennedy quote that I butcher almost every time I try to say it, but I think I came really close to getting it right. It's true. It's just because you can't. It will become self-defense at a point. People will rise up. You're right. There is going to be massive uprisings. There's going to be a massive awakening, but I think it's our job to make sure that we focus it, to make sure that we do the best that we can do to lead it and help guide it. Because these people need to see that there is a path forward. They're going to see that this system is very rigged and very corrupt. If they've been protected from it and they've been able to turn a blind eye to it, that protection is getting ready to get pulled out from underneath them. So they're going to become aware. We just have to help inform them and guide them and show them that we can change this. We can make it right. And there's still a chance right now. This fight is going on right now. Dion says we have to adapt this to the new norm. Carol says Bernie never speaks about it. The election rigging? Well, that's not exactly true. Maybe he himself doesn't, but his lawyers have been actively involved ever since the shenanigans in Iowa with the Shadow app. His lawyers and the team have been actively involved with following up with all of this rigging. And they had an app of their own when the Shadow app rigging went down. So I refuse to believe that the Bernie campaign is not aware of the exit polling and the things that we're aware of. And his surrogates are talking about it, especially Nina Turner. And she's emphasizing over and over and over again that this is not 2016, and they will not be able to get away with the same things they did before. Steve says this virus is exposing a lot of things. It's poking holes in every part of our system. Our system is predatory, and it's being exposed. And I hate that people will suffer during this, but no one will be able to ignore it anymore. A lot of people have been able to ignore what's going on, ignore how bad things are, turn a blind eye to it because they've been protected from it. Well, they're not going to be anymore. I think things are going to get very bad for American people. Bad enough that they will finally be motivated to do something. But they will need guidance and they will need leadership. So we need to be there. We need to be there to fill that role. He says Nina's a champ. Nina's my favorite. Killer Mike, way up there. It would be very close between the two of them. I also really love Cornel West, and Danny DeVito's really exciting to watch, actually. But Bernie has a lot of really good surrogates, but Nina is definitely the best at she gives me chills when she speaks. Jack says, I have heard him say, why can't we have a fair and honest election? He's said it in his way. He talks about and addresses it in his own way. He's clear that this system is rigged against us and that it will be people standing by the millions united that makes this happen. He's clear about all of that. But he doesn't full on address the rigging. But I think that he can't really, because then the media would make it all about that. They would focus on that. It's our job. It's our job to raise awareness about what's going on and our role. We have different roles. Bernie has to appeal to everyone. Bernie has to appeal to the average American who believes the lies coming from their TV, believes Rachel Maddow, believes that Russia rigged the 2016 primary. Carol says, good, because the lawyers are on it then, because it's so frustrating to see the rigging. It's terribly frustrating. This entire fight has been and will be and moving forward. But we must stay vigilant and active and doing all that we can. And if we do that, we cannot be stopped. But stay focused and keep working, keep pushing, no matter what happens here. People are going to be looking for answers. They're going to be looking for what to do. They're going to be looking to be led. We need to lead them. This is our fight. So we understand that. We know that. Keep doing all you can, and we will win. Not Bernie, us. But thanks for watching, guys. This is the Daily Bern. We do this every day at 7, and we will continue to throughout this fight. But we stay focused on the fact that this must happen. This must happen, no matter what. This keeps moving forward no matter what. This cannot stop, and it cannot fail. And belief is going to be incredibly important moving forward. Belief that we can make this happen, that it is possible. And then helping others to see that. That's going to be why it succeeds. Because our movement's going to get so big that it's too big to rig. Our momentum, we're on pace to win. We're already crumbling the system. It is dying. A lot of this insanity is the death throes of hundreds of years of power coming to an end and people awakening and rising up and doing what it needs to take it down. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next episode. Keep fighting out there. See you tomorrow.